Hey there, and welcome to The Extraordinary Marriage. I want to tell you a story today, and I want to welcome Patsy. You want to say hello, Patsy?
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here. Thanks, Connie.
We're so excited to have you as our guest today. Well, guess what? Your presence and knowing exactly what you do brings me to a story. Whenever I had little kids, three little children at home, 5 and under, you know, I always wore sweatpants and sweatshirts. I never thought anything about it. In high school, I dressed to the whatever you say, the hill, whatever. I dressed up. But whenever I got married and then I started having children, you're kind of tired. Sometimes you don't go out. Sometimes you don't comb your hair or fix your face. And as I began a career of 30 years with Mary Kay Cosmetics, back when, 30 years with Mary Kay, I was a sales director for 21 years. And I started to change how I dressed. I started to change how I looked. I had a friend named Wanda who always looked so smashing. And I thought, oh, I want to look like that too. So sometimes we find a mentor or we find somebody and it changes how we see things and how we look at things. And, I felt like I had enough confidence. But I little by little, since I was doing Mary Kay and I was doing facials on ladies and helping them build confidence and look better, feel better about themselves, I kind of had to play that part. So if I gave out my card when I was out, I couldn't give out my card if I looked like sweatpants girl, right? And there's nothing the matter with that, and it has its place. But
Right.
sometimes we want to fix up a little bit, right? So, Patsy, tell us about yourself and tell us what you do.
Well, I am an international image stylist and a master hairstylist. I've done hair forever. And now I'm speaking about image and the magic of color and how it enlivens our light and how it can actually help us have a better connection with others. Because, color is a silent influencer. Like there's some things like my least favorite color in the world is pumpkin orange.
Mm.
And it's fine in its place. And I was so grateful when I found out in my new typing system that pumpkin orange was earth. It wasn't a fire. I was so relieved. So, but then I wear this color, which is copper, and I get compliments everywhere I go. So, I think a lot of it is learning what is your best you, what colors resonate most with you. How do you look your most beautiful self without really trying? And I found that knowing what your best colors are, having the proper color palette changes everything because you wear everything in your closet, not just 20%, right? So, and I see your closet as an investment in you, just like you changed your closet to align with your new profession of being a Mary Kay rep. I just signed up for a Mary Kay. I have this amazing lady that became my client and I became her client. And so it just matters when you feel confident and look good, like when we see ourselves in the mirror, that kind
Mhm.
of sets our mood for the day. Like when you walk out of the bedroom, you're giving a message to the world by how you're dressed. And I found when I started doing this work, most of us are hiding in plain sight, not even a clue. We're influenced by the media, by what other people tell us, by the fashion industry. They don't care if you look great in the clothes. They just want you to buy their clothes. And so I think it's really important for me to help. I work mostly with women. I work with men. I love working with couples because they really help each other. It's so fun. But um, I saw women change from the inside out,
I
knowing who they
agree.
are, sharing their gifts. And when you look good, it isn't hard to bring your mood or your energy up to that level. So it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be expensive, but it is an investment in you. So I think a lot of times women will do for everybody else, but they won't do for themselves. And what I love is that, like, when we are out there doing business, that your image is a big impact in the world. So people make an assessment today about in the first 3 to 5 seconds they see you, and 50% on what you're wearing. And that's according to Harvard Business School. So we just need to be aware that if you're wearing the right colors, you connect. And it's easier. And my mentor told me this. She said that when you are aligned in your essence, like company is called Embrace Your Essence. It's all of you, inside, outside, head to toe. It's a gift you give to the world because it's easier to connect with you. You know, there's certain colors you can wear that draw people in, and some that you feel safe in, and some you're the expert. So it's just fun.
Absolutely true. I want to go back to two things that you said. Number one, now sometimes when I was staying at home with my kids, or I'm even at home working sometimes and I'm not talking to people, I like to say, I never look at me. So I don't even think about it. You know, the husband comes in and I'm like, I didn't even look at me today at what I look like. The second thing is when I was younger, you know, I liked those pastel colors. Light pink, baby blue. And one time we had a family picture made in those colors and I felt great. But as I looked back at the pictures, I kept looking at the picture, thought, I look kind of washed out, you know, because I needed more bright or deep colors. And I felt like you know, was washed out. But Patsy, I want to say something about you as we start in, because we're going to talk about marriage today. And Patsy, you have been married for 54 years. Did anybody gasp? Because Patsy must have got married when she was 8 years old. So Patsy, tell us a little bit about you, how you met your husband, and just tell us a little bit about how y'all met and a little bit about y'all 54
Okay,
years of experience.
So I was working at my grandmother's restaurant in this little country town, waiting tables on the weekends because my mom and dad were pretty poor. And if I wanted to have nice clothes in high school, I had to work and buy myself, which was fine. So every weekend I worked at my granny's restaurant. Well, there was a lot of single guys that came in because there was a big mill that employed everybody. So people came in and I was really drawn to this one guy. So I was talking to his friend one day when he was here having breakfast and he said, oh yeah. I said, Bud's a guy, nice guy. I said, yeah, he's very cute. I really think he's cute. Anyway, he asked me out. We started dating and we got married. Let's see, we went to a wedding together. He invited me to ride to a wedding that was in town. So I rode with him. We ended up double dating with another couple I didn't know very well. And went to a wedding in August, got engaged in December. We're married in April on his mother's birthday.
Wow.
And we just went to Reno because my parents really couldn't afford a big wedding, but we had a big reception and it was lovely. But he was adorable and he was the opposite of my father. Blonde, blue-eyed, quiet, gentle, sweet. My dad was kind of, you know, out there. He's a big personality and stuff. So it was really fun to marry somebody that was so sweet and so loving and so gentle. You know what I mean? Opposite of my home life was pretty rough. So I think sometimes we're gravitated to that. So we got married. But you know what was really interesting, Connie? When I was 18 and my parents were drinking and it was crazy, I swore that I was going to go to beauty college, get married, have 6 kids, have a 4-bedroom house with a fireplace. That was my goal. I don't know where that came from exactly. But so by the time I was 23, we were married. I had won a scholarship to go to beauty college. I got a job before I was even out of school. We had 2 kids and I knew that was perfect. And we had a 4-bedroom house with a fireplace. And right next door was a little beauty salon. So we were able to buy this house with this beauty salon. And all we had was, I think, $154 in the bank, and they paid all the closing costs. So
find a way, make a way. That's awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, it's just been amazing because we really, I think really what bonded our marriage more than anything is when we started putting God in the middle of our marriage instead of being selfish and self-centered. I'm very outgoing and very, you know, I'm very driven to succeed. And he is such a support system. So no matter whatever I've done, he's always supported me because I felt like that he knew I had this in me, right? So I think a lot of that is knowing each other's strengths and weaknesses and supporting each other in that. And so had that for a long time, sold that, bought another house when our kids got bigger, got in high school. And we've just, you know, when God's in the middle of it, then we can deal with stuff, we can learn. And, you know, we're not the same people at 18 and 25 that you are at 30 or 40 or 50. Like we all transition into life, because life changes. It doesn't stay the same. But it's having good enough communication that you can go, look, this doesn't work for me. Look, but God, can we do this? Took us a long time to learn to do that. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of it is really about, enjoying each other, having fun. And I think that's one of the mistakes a lot of young moms make, is they give all their energy to their kids, and yet you're your husband's arm candy. And so if you don't look pretty and don't take care of yourself, you're actually reflecting his choice of a wife and a mother. I think the other thing that was really interesting, when I was going to Sunday school and Bible church camp and stuff, when I was junior high, they had us set an intention of what we wanted, and to wait until we were married to have sex, to who was your ideal mate, who, and write that down. And well, obviously Bud was my ideal mate. I had no idea, but I feel like God took care of me from a small age, knowing my heart, knowing what, knowing I was going to be a leader. And I mean, I'm 72. I never expected to do what I'm doing now, right? So you don't know what the future is going to look like, right?
Well, I hear you on that as what you learned at church. And I think that we might be a dying breed. And I'm not going to go into that, but I do want to say that waiting till you get married, this practically unheard of these days. And yeah, that's old fashioned, but people are people, whether they're, 1,000 years ago, 100 years ago, or today. And a lot of times there's so many problems and broken families from such things as not waiting, and so when we don't wait, sometimes we have to deal with a lot of different problems. But I want to take you back to the fact that you were talking about, you chose a person that was different than your father. And, we're all people, and we're all just doing the best that we can do. And what I have realized, Patsy, is that we can't do or live or be anything that we don't know, maybe something that we've never seen. And so if you did have challenges in your family, you're very fortunate, because you did pick out someone that was different, because usually women pick out that person who is their father. They look for that guy who's like their dad, and you're very fortunate that you picked the opposite on that, right?
When our daughter got married, I had learned about how the father sets the standard for the daughter. So I think, well, men want to be respected and women want to be loved.
Yes.
And when the father loves the daughter and really honors her, he becomes her idol. And so just the day she was going to get married, I had my husband, I said, you need to buy her a beautiful watch or something as a symbol of you adoring her. And he did that. And they are still like this today. I mean, there's nothing that she could ask of him that he wouldn't do. And so I think a lot of times the men in our lives don't realize they set the standard for how how you children treat the mother, how they treat life. And I think that's what we're broken, is we don't have a lot of good mentors for men. I mean, if you don't get them in a church, there's, like my husband's dad was a workaholic, right? And they couldn't, like, when they were in grammar school and high school, they would leave because his dad would always put him to work, but he never did anything fun with him. And I think this is the saddest part. One of the things that we did in our church is that I realized that I came from a very dysfunctional family, and I really needed to have a lot of healing. I didn't know what that looked like. So I started a 12-step group called Spiritual Journey, about dealing with those issues, finding a place safe enough to deal with those issues. And every week we would meet, and people would come, and we'd break up women in one section, men in the other, and work on a lesson. And then we'd come back at the end and the last half hour, and every week somebody would share their story. Well, we'd go through a half a box of Kleenex, listening to how that person was treated as a child.
Yeah.
And the one thing that was the biggest aha for my husband is that when he was 18, Nobody came to his high school graduation. His mom and dad got a divorce. Mom had moved away, and the dad lived six miles down the street, but he had a new family. And Bud never really saw him. But nobody was at his high school graduation. And he paused and he goes, I cannot imagine not going to our kids' graduation. So there's a lot we deal with. We all drag something from our childhood and our past in there that's broken, that needs to be healed. And that whole segment that we went through changed everything in our marriage and gave other people permission to talk about that stuff we don't talk about. We shove it down, you know, we take on addictions to cover up all of our pain. And there's a different way. And for me and Bud, it was going to church, learning about God, and then having mentors in the church work with us. Like Bud had buddies that he really respected, very cautious. We just moved to be near all of our kids a couple of years ago, and it's taken us 2 years to find a church. He doesn't want to be involved in a small group. I'm going to Bible study. I want to meet women. I want to learn more about God. And, you know, I feel like sometimes there's a lot of mistrust. And if you can't trust each other in a marriage, you're headed for destruction, right? And it's people have the courage to talk about it, but you have to learn how to do that, right? You have to find a way to communicate. And I'm sure you and your husband have went through that too. But for me, I'm grateful that God kind of steered us away that would help us both heal. And then I led that group for years, you know, helping other people come in and get healed. And one day the pastor came in and he said, I don't know what you're doing in that group, but people are coming to me and counseling, and I see some major changes in these people's lives. So I don't know if we're supposed to talk about this, but I feel like, you know, this is what is, I think, the cement to our marriage. Right now we're seniors. My husband had, you know, prostate cancer. He had, you know, aorta, you know, like he's been through physical things, but we're healthy and we're happy.
Well, Patsy, I had no idea whenever we got on here today that you were going to bring all of these awesome things out. And this is why I connected you a couple of years ago whenever we spoke on something together, because you're expressing, and it's not planned. It's like we just start talking and these things come out. But you're expressing the reason that I'm doing what I'm doing now. And that is because people cannot bring anything into the marriage that they've not experienced. In fact, they bring that old baggage, and if they don't have that support or they don't know how to work it out, it comes out as anger and frustration. And a lot of times women feel, you know, if they're married to an angry husband, they feel isolated, alone. Some talk about it to other people, and some people keep it to themselves and they never share it with anyone. And nobody knows the stuff that's going on for them. And the truth is that we have to reach out to somebody. We have to have somebody we can have confidence in to support us if we want to get through anything like that. Now, I'm kind of like you. I am so thankful because I also married that easygoing guy that you're talking about. I got one too. Hallelujah. Right? I got one, but everybody doesn't get one of those. But there's a lot of them around, but everybody doesn't get one. And when you marry a person where you communicate differently and you have conflict and you don't know how to resolve it, it's trouble. But there is help out there. You just have to look around for it. And that's why I'm really here. But look, Patsy's in a whole different business. She's had a whole different life. She lives a whole different place. Patsy, where are you?
I'm in Northern California.
So I kind of forgot where you were. So it's earlier in the day because I'm in Georgia. So, you know, what all, you've already naturally told me some of this. So what are a few things that you feel like have helped your marriage work? And you've already told me a lot on that.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the big shifts for me was this. About 15 years ago, we had moved to a new area because my husband lost his job when the mills closed and all that stuff. And I weighed 250 pounds and I was pretty miserable. And I think a lot of us women put a lot of responsibility on our husbands when it belongs to us. And So I think that the biggest thing is, like, we're talking about all this stuff that we're dragging in. Nobody knows how to talk about their emotions or what to do with them, even if they express them. So somebody introduced me to a 12-step program for food called Food Addiction Recovery Anonymous. And I went and I started, and I realized, oh my gosh, this program is about body, mind, and spirit. I had dieted off and on for 35 years, like this roller coaster of dieting, and I just couldn't handle one more failure. Like, failure has been my nemesis of just always following me around. But I left with hope that day. And so I was going on vacation, and I came back, and we were eating and having a great time. I gained 8 pounds while I was gone. I thought, I have got to figure this out. So I came to the program and I started doing it. I lost 11 pounds the first 11 days. So I found myself, when we moved, I missed all my friends. I had a salon for 30. I mean, I'd had 3 or 4 salons. Like, I'd had all these people in my life. Now I had no one. And I was drinking and eating at night. And I think I was trying to fill the void of, like, I don't know what to do with myself. So when I went in and did this 12-step program, I was able to go back and heal all of that stuff from my childhood, because I could now talk about it amongst a safe place and bring God into it. Like, God was part of my life, but I didn't know how to give him my kitchen. Like, I didn't know how to, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I would diet, but diet is just, it doesn't change how you're perceiving life. So when I realized the things I were eating was sabotaging the person I really wanted to be. So I went from a size 20, 22 to a 6'8" in like 8 months. I stayed that way until last year or so, and I put on a little bit of weight, moving, a lot of stress and stuff happened, but I'm still on the right size body. And so I learned to love me in a whole new way. You know, I hope you like me, but if you don't like me, hey, this is the best I get, and it's okay, right? Not everybody's going to like us, not everybody's going to want us to be a part of their lives, but what happened is, my anger of everything, I responded to life with anger. I ruled my house with anger. That's how my mom did ours as a kid. We learned to toe the line. So all of that changed when I was willing to do something so out of the box and change who I was being in the world. And you have this whole emotional shift, because you've been able to release all this stuff and forgive people and move forward. I got to a place where my parents did the best job they knew how. Right. They didn't have the tools I had in my toolbox. Right. They didn't know how to do that. So, you know, sometimes what we really need, we're so resistant to doing, right? And that changed our relationship to a whole new level. Like, Bud now started communicating with me, knowing it was going to be safe, that I wasn't going to explode on him, communicating in a way that we had more fun. He started teasing me. We started doing more fun things. And when I got into the color typing business and found out he's a water, he likes all these soft, beautiful, muted tones of summertime, right?
You're just talking color, right?
Yeah. Okay. You know, soft pinks and baby blues and grays and, you know, just these beautiful tones. Well, it went along with who he was. You know, water's like go with the flow, and they have bedroom eyes, and they just, you know, they're adorable, right? But they're very tenderhearted.
And I personality styles, Patsy? Not to interrupt.
Well, it's more about your character traits, like how you're born naturally. Like, there's air. I'll show you this. So this is air, bright spring colors, right? They're the visionary. They're the person that's got all these ideas, kind of the girl next door. I'm a fire, all these fall, muted, rich, spicy colors. They're movers and shakers. They get things done, right? So if you have a team of people and you give your fire the right instructions, they'll make it happen for you, right? Waters, they do all the detail work. And so here's the palette of a water, is like that very soft and muted and beautiful tones, but they really can help things be in order. My VA, my virtual assistant, is a water. She likes all that detailed stuff and content and putting stuff on Facebook and stuff out. Like, ooh, I don't want to bother with that. And then there's Earth. This is where you wear black and all those striking colors. Their natural gift is the editor. And so they kind of sit back and they sort of analyze everything, and they see what's missing, and they can help bring things to completion. Well, what I discovered as I started working with this company, I got trained, and then the owner got ill. I managed a company for a couple of years, and then I bought the business 6 years ago and up-leveled it and done a bunch of stuff. But what I realize is we use all 4 of those character traits in our business, but we have a core. So when I was a fire, I wasn't very happy when they color timing me, because I was told I was a winter 25 years ago wearing black and jewel tones. Come to find out, the energy of black, if it's not your color, pushes people away. Here I am wearing these colors, trying to build my business. I'm pushing people away. So one of the things that happened, this is the funniest story. I found this, my friend asked me to go do an event with her, and I found this blouse that was in this soft peach color. And I got out my little booklet. I thought, what does that mean? If I wore that color and it says, oh, they're closest to your heart, purity, conveying openness, connection, trust, and comfort. Well, I was supposed to help people when they came into the room. I thought that's the energy I want to bring to the room. So I wore that when I found a duster to match. And the other stylist that came in the room, she goes, Patsy, you look luscious today. I said, I do? Said, yes. I wore the same outfit to a networking event, and somebody said I look radiant. Now, before, people complimented my outfit or my hair, but they didn't say I look pretty. They didn't say I look lovely. Say those things until I started wearing the fire colors. They're softer, they're more approachable. Like, I was shocked that it made a difference. And the salon owner said, what are you doing lately? You look amazing. I said, I changed my tops, because that's what the stylist had me do. Just go buy a few tops and play with it. And she said, people will treat you differently. And that happened. So that's why I'm so excited about the magic of color, because it just really lets you be more of you. Lets you connect with people easier. And so when I got into that business, and Bub was a water and I was a fire, we go shopping together. He knows exactly my colors. He'll go pick something out because he gets it, or I'll pick something out, and he loves it. Like, we have fun shopping. He'll go shopping with me for 3 hours. That's not what men do. Men go hunting for clothes. They bag it and they take it home. We go shopping for clothes.
I need help, because I've been married 44 years to your 54 years. And my husband is awesome like yours, but he cannot pick out colors for me. And so he will come back with pastels. And after all of these years, he comes back with pastel colors for me. And I hate to say anything, or he brings me gray. And I'm a person who sees color like you. I see color before I see words. I see color before I see black and white. I like to wear black and white too, but
that's really a gift to be able to see that. Some people can't. I have this one couple I did, and the husband, well, 2 of them are really good with color. So their wives, and they love to go shop with them because they love getting their advice and suggestions. And sometimes we have broken eyes. We might like a color, but that color may not like us, you know? So I think that sometimes you could turn it into something fun. I do a special package for couples, because now I do things virtually. When COVID came, I closed down my makeover studio. And then one day I got a download from God, but wonder if I sent them a kit, with 4 different kind of different fabrics and a little lip color and stuff, and did it on Zoom. Like, now we all have great lighting. I thought, okay, so I did a beta testing, a lady in Oregon, a lady in Texas. And then I had a girlfriend that was a coach, and I love working with coaches and coming alongside you and helping you with your people. And she had about 5 or 6 friends that wanted to have it done. So I sent these kits out, and they would hold the fabric up to them and sit close with no makeup. And I'd cover their hair if it was colored with a little, headband. And I could actually tell what their element was. And then I work with them virtually, how to do your closet, how to shop online, make a shopping list. What are we doing? Where are you going? What are your best stores? What is the best place for you to buy clothes that fit your body type? What's the best brand for your body type? Last night I did a meeting with a small network meeting, and I asked all the women, there was about 10 or 12, what is your biggest challenge? And most of them said, finding clothes that fit my body type.
I used to have a tiny waist, and I don't have that anymore.
Yeah. So I think a lot of times we have our own frustration, and we want our husband to fix it, and it's not his job. So not just in shopping and stuff, but it's really creating balance. For me, the last 5 years have been about creating balance. Time with my husband, time with my kids and grandsons, time for my business, and time for me. And so, women juggle a lot. we are expected to be these super women.
Mhm.
And we can do multitasking. We are amazing. And the men tend to keep it simple, right? And we have to honor that, ask him. Like my husband's hard of hearing. Now I know I need to stand in front of him and say, hey, honey. So I have his attention because he can't hear very well, but it took me a while to figure that out. So there's lots of ways you can honor each other, but realizing, oh, this is where he's at in life. This is what he's doing. What about your husband? What does he do for life?
My husband is a minister of music, full time at church. Go figure, right? And but he spent years working full time in insurance. So he sold all kinds of insurance, and he was a part time in music. But music is his love, and it kind of is what brought us together. But I want to go back to your colors because you talked about the different colors, and I had no idea, even though we talked before, that really what you're talking about is personality styles. And that is what I talk about because literally some of us gel, some of us lift each other up, some of us crush, squish each other, each other. And as you talk, Patsy, as we're finishing today, as you talked about your anger whenever you were first married, I'm saying you guys are a miracle for 54 years because you personally were so self-aware and paid attention and listened, and maybe somebody suggested those 12 week programs because you had a 12-week program for marriage, I think you said earlier. I think that's right. And then you had a 12-week program for food. I'm thinking, I need that now. I'm having trouble. Even if I'm happy, I eat if I'm stressed or celebrating, if I'm bored,
What do you do with all that emotion? What do you do with it?
We can't go into all of that. Boy, we could probably talk for 2 hours. But literally there's different persons, the very driven person. And as you talked about yourself and your coloration, you are very driven. That very driven person has a top emotion that comes with that. And guess what it is? It's anger. And so that anger comes out this way or that. And to your easygoing husband, that was kind of crushing and it was kind of hard for him. I can know that because I know the personality styles, the communication styles. So that was hard for him. But I'm just going to guess on this. Was he a yes man? He said yes to whatever you wanted. And he was always helpful and serving of you. Is this true?
Yeah. So part of that is this. When he was growing up and his parents divorced when he was 15,
Oh, yeah.
he was abandoned.
Oh,
So he'll put up with a lot from me because he
oh,
doesn't want to be abandoned. And when we were in this 12-step program for spiritual, dysfunctional families, we started understanding that my parents were very outgoing alcoholic, but at least there was love in our house. My husband never saw his parents kiss.
oh.
So do you understand? So here he came with this and I came with that. And we didn't understand this until we did this program at church, coming from dysfunctional families, and how that set the standard for how you're living and how you're trying to live.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, life is complex, but if you're married, you need to work together and I love that you're doing this marriage thing because I think we don't talk about it, right? Everybody goes through hard times. Like I can't tell you how many times I want to leave my husband because he just wouldn't give it the program. And when I went to the 12-step program for food, we've been married, I think, I don't know, one of the programs, I said to him, after we were married for 21 years, I said, you're so lucky to be married to me. He said, yeah. Then after I went through the 12-step program for food, I said, honey, thank you for staying married to me. Now I've been able to see all these things because I didn't know what to do with my emotions. I didn't know. I couldn't handle failure. I was the oldest daughter, had to get my brother and sister to school. I'm the one that got trouble at home every day when my parents come home and the dinner, if dinner wasn't ready or the house wasn't clean, it was my, I learned very quick to take control. And that's when I set my thing saying, I'm not living like this. I'm going to do this in my life. So if you don't understand where all that stuff comes from, it's pretty hard to clear it out and then be able to be open to receive love and give more love. And it's just so freeing to be. And that's part of the work I do with women. There's so many gifts women have. I love teaching them about that. I got an email yesterday from a lady I worked with over a year ago at an event. We color typed her, but she never reached back out so we could finish her program. She said, Patsy, you changed my life. I've lost 40 pounds and now I feel so much more confident. I wear all my colors. My husband says I look great. She said, but you're the first person besides my husband that said I had beautiful eyes. And I breathe life into women because it's like, who tells you those things? If you're not getting it from your spouse and your friends uplifting you, where does that come from? To think that my work that's where they call me the transformational specialist. It's not just a bunch of colors.
Mhm.
It's who are you? What are your gifts? What is, there's a verse in the Bible and Song of Solomon 4:7, it says, you are beautiful beyond compare, beautiful beyond all measure. And I create you absolutely flawless. But the media and the fashion world make sure that we don't feel that way. They only want us to buy clothes. But I know how to help people only buy the stuff that they feel beautiful in and want to wear and get compliments on and feel good about who you're being and what you're wearing. It's more about that. It's not even the color so much, just being approachable and feeling attractive. Like I made up this saying, fashion is a look. It's not a size, age, price tag, or name brand. It's who you're being, what you're wearing. Approachable, more confident, more attractive, and feeling beautiful as your authentic self. We're all here for a reason. God has a mission for every single person on here. Only you're going to be able to help people with their marriage or help them understand. Like, your gift, Connie, is so big. I'm so excited that you're taking on marriage, and little tweaks can make a big difference in a marriage. And I think that's what you're going to be able to help people with. So thank you for doing this for couples and people, and even people just in relationships,
Well, Patsy, you have been so awesome today because I too believe, like, we could be twins somewhere. Because your story and what you share is the same kind of stuff that I share and I believe in. And those 21 years lifting women in Mary Kay and helping them build businesses, it taught me so many things. And here's the thing, in this day and time, so often the younger generation, and hey, yes, I hope we're talking to the younger generation because that's why we're here. Often the younger generation discounts what older people think or know. And at this point now, like, we both got hair color, right? We're on YouTube too. So you can see this on YouTube. But here we're on a podcast. You can't see us, but you see our pictures. And, we have hair color and we fix up and we have haircuts and that kind of stuff. But sometimes, even at the age now, of which I'm not going to tell, is, like, I can have white and gray hair. And I'm like, I just can't have gray hair. I just have to color it because it's just who I am and it makes me feel good. But you know what? Whatever makes people feel good, it's okay. Be yourself. But the thing is that younger women learn from women who've been there, learn who women who are older. And as we get older, we have so much to share and so much experience to bring and help. And that's why Patsy and I are here. Well, let me share this with you because this is one of the first 7 podcasts on the extraordinary marriage. In fact, this is going to be episode 4. And this podcast is launching November 2nd of 2023. You may be watching this later. It's going to be launching November 2nd of 2023. And guess what? In this first 7 episodes, because I want to get a great start, on Spotify and Apple and those places that we're going to be seeing, I want to get a great start. So I'm having a little bit of a contest, and that is the first 7 episodes, all of the November episodes, 7 of them will have a clue word. Today's clue word is, are you ready to write it down? Sparkle, because I knew that Patsy was going to make everybody sparkle because that is her business and what she does. So that word is sparkle. And here's the thing. Anytime during the month, or towards the end of the month, you can email me, Connie, at The Extraordinary Marriage. I kind of have to say that I'm not the best speller, so I have to say The Extraordinary Marriage. That's what I have to do every time I write it to make sure I spell it right without the spell check on. But on Connie at The Extraordinary Marriage. And the first person who emails me with all the words, all the keywords, 7 of them, because they watched every episode, and I say thank you now for doing that. They watched every episode. They are going to get a free hour of relationship coaching from me. The first 7 people who email me all 7 words are going to get the 10 days to a happier, healthier marriage. It's a small little short class where you get something that helps you for 10 days in a row, because I believe habits are formed during that time. But somebody out of everyone who sends me the 7 code words on my email, every person who does that by November 30th, 2023 is going to be entered for an actual course that I have. It's a $97 course. It's something I teach live. It's a 3-hour class when I teach it live, and it's called Communication Secrets for Couples. But you know what? What I'm talking about today and what Patsy's talking about, it can also be used not only in your marriage, it can be used with your children when you learn these things. It can be used in your business. And so that free class is called Discovering Work and Family Dynamics. Discovering Work and Family Dynamics. And so it teaches you the same concepts that I teach in my marriage classes, and a lot of the stuff that Patsy's actually talked about today, and you get it free. So somebody who emails me by November 30th, 2023, with all 7 of those keywords is going to get that free. And Patsy, I mean, I didn't realize that you are speaking my heart today. And I don't want to get emotional. So I thank you, Patsy. Okay, help me, Patsy. Give me another word. Tell people where they can find you.
Well, if you can go to embracingyouressence.com, that's my website. And I have a little thing you can, let's connect. And if you're interested to even chat with me about anything, let's connect and set up a session. But there's so much more about to you than you realize, right? And we're here to share with each other and help. So if you know you're in a place that you want to up-level your life, you want to learn how to communicate better, feel better about who you are, that's what I want to do on the outside. Connie helps the inside. Like, we're a great team. You know what I mean? Like, so communication and connection is everything. So the magic of color is like the bridge to communication. So I think that it's really fun. So Patsy, at Embracing Your Essence, if you want to email me, but my website is embracingyouressence.com. Let's connect. I would love to have a chat with you.
Oh, Patsy, thank you so much. And guess what, everybody? You can find those show notes. Patsy's episode is going to be number 4, and you're going to find those show notes at theextraordinarymarriage.com on my podcast page. You're going to find those notes. And if you didn't get that information from her, you're going to be able to connect with her, or maybe later, it might be a year or 2 years later, and all of a sudden you're like, what was that lady's name? Patsy. Where did I hear that from her? How can I get some help with color? And you're going to go back and find those on episode 4. So thank you, Patsy, for being with us today. You were awesome. I had no idea how great you were going to be. God bless.
Thank you. Have a blessed day.